Hello and welcome to episode 5 of Vanderpump Guys.
Entitled Lake It or Break It.
The
Good
official
title.
synopsis, really good title. The official synopsis is James surprises Allie with a new addition to the family. Sheena and Brock clash over hiring a nanny for Summer Moon. A tense conversation between James and Sandoval threatens to rock the fragile peace the group had just formed.
Whoa. Oh, man.
Whoa.
And that new addition to the family is our old buddy Graham. All right, so when James is driving to the house, he's got Graham in the front seat of the car, like strapped in. He's not looking at the road. He's like shaking the dog and he's like, Graham is my baby boy. Graham is my baby boy. Should you have a dog in the front seat of your car?
Yeah, I mean, I think the dog should be in the back seat. I do think I've fostered some dogs recently, and sometimes you'll put them in the front seat just because they're freaking out or they're sensitive or something like that. I had this woman who was a dog trainer who helped us like train one of the foster dogs, and she could only drive if the dog was sitting on her lap. Like the dog wouldn't go. So I do feel like it isn't quite like children, like you can only have babies or whatever in the back seat. But I think to your point, it would be ideal if all the dogs were in the back seat. Yeah. He does have them strapped in, right? Doesn't he have a seatbelt on the top?
I don't know if the seatbelt is doing a lot. It's also probably a little bit of not looking at the road and just shaking the dog and making this song. But we can let it pass. The editors have a little fun here. You see the lower third?
Oh yeah, Graham, James's dog. I just don't buy James as like I don't know. I just don't believe him when he's like, I love this dog. I'm like, I don't buy it.
Yeah, it does feel like there's a little bit of I'm gonna win the relationship by getting this dog and beating Raquel more so than like, I love this dog more than anything.
Yeah, and I also just find Rachel, maybe it is something about like that she's not on the show. So when she's talking on her podcast about what happened, it's like she doesn't really have anything to lose at this point. So I kind of just believe anything she says. But her stance is that Graham was like, would yell at the dog. The dog was scared of James. Sorry, that James would yell at the dog, yell at Graham. Not that Graham was yelling at himself.
A little bit of both. I could see Graham being a yeller. He's a little barky. He was coming at that. He was coming at Mr. Banks pretty hard through the door there, huh?
And then Allie, Allie is a little trepidatious. I feel like she got in a few like kind of cheap shots at Rachel where she was kind of like, can't get rid of this girl. It's like she didn't do anything, I don't know. Am I being too sensitive on Rachel's behalf?
I think Allie's going to be great for Graham, ultimately. I think Graham in a house alone with James Kennedy is not a good thing. And I think Allie has good animal energy. So hopefully she can set Graham on the straight and narrow. Did you notice they're like putting sound effects every time they cut to Mr. Banks? There's like a stock sound effect of a cat meowing.
I did not notice that.
Really good. Be on the lookout. They're up to something.
I watch each episode twice, but the first time that I watch it, I'm listening to it because I'm driving around delivering bread and I just like have it on in the background on my phone. And I'm always struck that they, in the opening, the raise your glass thing, that when they move from location to location, there's a little whoosh sound.
Oh man. These audio engineers don't get enough credit. They're really putting in some long hours on the show.
Yeah, where's that Emmy for them?
Thank you. We also get the rebranding of Graham into Hippie, finally. And we learn it's a complicated allusion to my late godfather, George Michael's dog, who was named Hippie. There you have it.
I forgot that James had a connection to George Michael. I'm assuming it's the singer. I'm assuming, like, if you say George Michael, you're talking about George Michael, the singer, not somebody named George Michael. I'm gonna go
It'd
ahead
be
and
good if it
assume
was
that.
just like his mom's friend George, who's like not the actual George Michael.
I always called him George Michael. His name was George Sanford. I called him George Michael.
Michael was his middle name. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much that. Then we go to Tom and Tom go shopping for their new Lake Tahoe outfits at a store that like sells weapons. They're looking for.
I gotta say, I'm often pretty familiar. You know, living in LA, I'm pretty familiar with a lot of the places. I had no idea what this clothing store was. At one point, Tom Schwartz picks up a T-shirt and is like, "I can't pay $500 for this." I don't know this store that's selling $500 T-shirt. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of them in LA, but I have not been in this store.
That's what happens when you're shopping at the weapons store. Yeah, Schwartz is like, I'm in the Adam Sandler phase of my life. I'm just hoping this trip is like more Wet Hot American Summer than The Shining. Cut to Tom Sandoval like holding a knife and like he's like, oh, are these knives good? Then he like picks up an axe and he starts like swinging it at Schwartz. It's crazy.
I also couldn't get over when they did the insert of the text from Sandoval to Rachel. It's like just the way that Sandoval texts is just like,
oh,
you like worst. A lot of U's with the letter, just the letter U, all lowercase. Like,
you don't want to get a Tom Sandoval text.
Yeah,
is he 40 yet?
He's 41.
Yeah, he can't be texting that you are your anymore. He's got to phase that out.
I also like, I think we should, moving forward, not, talk about, I mean, not that you do it, I'm the one who does it, but talk about like Rachel's side of all this. But it's very striking that Tom Sandoval's like, yeah, I have no idea why Rachel isn't texting me back. And I guess it's her publicist. Okay, I'm just going to say it. It's because he was trying to get her to leave her care facility early before she got the treatment that she needs. And her therapist told her, you got to cut him out of your life. He's toxic. He is bad news. And he's acting like it's some kind of like PR optics thing. It's because no, literally, he didn't care about her treatment. Like she said, when she got that text from him that was like, you should leave your care facility before you're ready because I need you. She's like, oh, this guy doesn't love me. And she's never, I'm pretty sure to this day, she's never spoken to him since.
Yeah. If your therapist concludes the solution is completely cutting somebody out of your life, then what are you doing, Tom? Don't blame the publicist. What's happening here? He's a real detective with that blue text, green text thing. Also, like, what? How would the publicist even be involved? Did she have Rachel's phone during this time? Is she the one like screening the text messages or making sure the iMessage is on or off on Wi-Fi?
I also would be curious, like maybe it's a thing where Rachel is kind of like, this is what she was telling him. Like, yeah, it's my publicist because it's a little awkward to be like, my therapist thinks you're bad for me.
Yeah. And I mean, she's proven right. Tom is bad for her, especially when he puts on that little baseball cap and he's like, I'm really vibing with this baseball cap. I think I should buy this. Not a good dude. Then we move on to another clothing store scene. We got Brock and Sheena picking out their Lake Tahoe outfits. Sheena's like, should I go with the one piece or bikini? Can I get this in extra small? Then she like pinches her like
like the smallest
of an inch of body fat. I'm disgusting. All right, Sheena.
Yeah, this was like one of the more alarming. You really see Brock's giving some real, guy who gets a restraining order against him energy here.
We were on to him pretty early. Hey, do you know pop quiz, Ryan? Do you know Brock's other daughter in his home country? Her name?
No.
It's Winter.
Winter, and then there's Summer Moon? Wow.
Yeah, I don't like that. bring this kid into this battle. What are we doing?
Man, I can't wait until Winter gets a Twitter account, starts blasting Brock.
Yeah, we were on to this guy. He really I think it is fascinating on this show to like see the real moments, like watching these couples like actually have like actual arguments, but he's just like he comes in so hot. Like he's like,
yeah, it makes me wonder
having your mother around this house. You're paranoid. She tells you you're not good enough, and you're rabbit holing, and now you think no one's good enough.
and she's like, bro, can we like not have a fight in a clothing store? This is weird.
Yeah, she handles it so well. You know, I think I should just nip this in the bud. There's something on the runner here that says why Ryan hates Sheena so much. Does not hate Sheena. Do not hate Sheena. I think
Sheena hard on her.
I think Sheena sometimes is so honest that she kind of like can embarrass herself a little bit, but like talking about in the after show a few weeks ago about how like Ariana doesn't text her that much. It's like, but you know, I appreciate that she's vulnerable. She, you know, opens up. These are good qualities for a person to have. You know?
Wow. I'm impressed. This is a big stance. Would you say you're less of a Lala guy and more of a Sheena guy now?
No. Lala, it's like Lala's way up there and then Sheena's below, but above a lot of other people. So,
you know, it's weird. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was going to say it was weird also in that argument. There's a moment where Sheena is like, say, you're embarrassing me. Can you just shut up? And he's like, it's optics. Like, what do you mean by that? It's optics?
Yeah, it's also like, do not under any circumstances go in on your, you know, mother-in-law. Like, this is like relationship 101. You can't accuse your mother-in-law, especially on TV, of being like a bad mother-in-law. Like,
right.
This is such a bad look for him. Like, there's no coming back from this, Brock. Like, what are you doing,
totally, bro? Furthermore, like, what a gift to have a family member who's so available and they're watching your kid while you go away 5 days a week, going to Lake Tahoe and doing all your stuff. If the mother-in-law didn't exist, Brock would have to be at home watching the kid. He's not in the opening title scene.
Yeah, instead of being at Lake Tahoe saying to Tom Sandoval, Tom, yeah, what are you gonna do here? And Sandoval's like, who the fuck are you? Like, what is happening?
Feeding him grapes.
Wait, also, I don't see it in this runner. Is it where is the conversation between Ariana and Katie? Has that happened yet? Can I talk about that?
That's like in the opening montage. Yeah. That's like before the James Graham thing, I think. They're in the car talking about all the red tape opening. There's something about her.
I thought that happened a little. I remember there's like a shot of them in the opening, like talk, but then I thought it cuts back to them later. But
I think they do like a lot of like intercutting back and forth. The season's all over the place. It's hard to manage the gang taking a trip to Lake Tahoe -2.
I was like, I mean, you know, I love Ariana. I did feel like during that conversation with Katie that it is a little, she's got jokes. She's got capital J jokes. She says, I don't want to say things are shitty at the sandwich shop, but somebody pooped on our patio. And then she says, I was gonna cut around the red tape. I was like, who do I gotta blow in City Hall? She's like, I remember it's West Hollywood. They're all gay. I was like, all right.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Katie is like pitching an Ocean's 11 heist about while everyone's in Tahoe, they'll break into Pump and like steal the glasses so they don't need to buy glasses for there's something about her. These two, they've got quite the subplot.
Yeah. They were, I gotta say, they were very critical of Schwartz and Sandy about opening their place late. It's not that easy, is it? It's not that easy.
It looks like it's tough to open a place. Who would have known? Yeah, they got to build like a handicapped ramp. They don't have one. The only thing on their patio is shit.
That being said, we stand with Ariana and Katie always.
We do. And you know who else we stand with? Anne. We see Anne again in this episode.
Another Anne spotting.
I thought that scene was kind of weird. Sandoval like comes up to Anne. He has like a black t-shirt and like red pants on. He's like, you think this will hide the blood if I get stabbed? Like she could not be less amused by him. She just kind of like stares at him and shrugs. She's like, yeah, I guess.
I have a friend. I was looking on Instagram, and Anne. I have like 29 friends in common with Anne, because I think she's done a lot of stuff at UCB in LA. And I was sort of like fishing around with a mutual friend. I was kind of like, oh, so Anne, she does stuff with Vanderpump, huh? And he was just kind of like, yeah, bro. Like I don't. You know? I was clearly like just like a crazed Vanderpump fan.
No, I cannot get you access to Anne. But yeah, Anne, please come on the show. Schwartz, Sandoval, get the whole gang together.
And then the cast films their own flight.
That was kind of like a weird scene.
I have no memory of this scene. What happened?
Do you remember like they put like a weird grainy like photo booth filter on all the footage, and it's like, who just got iMovie in the cast? And it's like them all boarding the plane and getting ready. And it's like intercut with Graham is riding a private jet with Ken and Lisa. They like cut to Ken snoring.
I'm sorry. Ken, like, this dude's an executive producer on, like, we gotta have a little respect with the Ken edit. Like, who put that shot in there?
You want to wake him up or like fucking do a vitality check? What are we doing?
Like, we gotta get my guy Ken the Wild compression socks. Like, my guy is not going out like Logan Roy on this.
No,
jet. Like,
all the attention goes to Graham. Like, Lisa has a nice blanket out for him on the floor and all his toys and the water dish. What are we doing to Ken?
Ken does get off a line later. I forget what it is, but I remember I was like, I heard his voice. I was like, all right, okay.
Does he? I like
at Wolf. He says,
oh.
They say something, and he says like, oh no, they say, oh, DJ James Kennedy asked Ken. He's like, hey, where's the DJ booth? And Ken's like, yeah, that little corner right there. Right.
It's good. So then, yeah, they all go to Lake Tahoe. Lisa does a photo shoot with a wolf. Did this all really happen? These seems like ChatGPT wrote this episode.
I feel like Lisa pitching the wolf restaurant concept to us, the audience, it feels a lot like when I tell people that I host a Vanderpump Rules recap podcast. Everybody's just kind of like, oh, okay.
Our podcast is masculine. It's sexy. It's like a big bad wolf.
She's just like, this restaurant is gonna be. I'm just like, all right, I don't know.
It's not for the faint of heart.
That being said, I got to get my girlfriend Gabrielle to drive to Lake Tahoe. We gotta go to, like, come on, like, what are we doing here?
That water looks beautiful.
I think it's like a 3-hour drive for me. That's not too bad.
I'm out.
What's your drive game like? How far do you drive for stuff?
Yeah. How far do we drive? In New York City, parking is not ideal. So you find a good parking spot, you never move that car again. There was a time I think like Sam and I's biggest drive is usually to like Long Island to like see my parents or something. And there's like a Christmas we got back, and I found a forever spot where you never need to move the car. Parked it there, and I was like, we're never gonna touch this again. We need to like go to upstate or something. Like, we'll just take the train. It's like a 7-hour train ride. Why would we take a 3-hour car? I mean, it's such a good parking spot.
That's amazing.
Speaking of cars, by the way, So old Sandy gets a little emotional in that car ride with Schwartz. They're FaceTiming with Lisa, and Sandoval's like, oh, Sheena said hi to me. And Schwartz is like, oh, wow, that was really nice, man, to get a hello from someone who's disgusted by your very existence. Getting a little humanity from the gang, buddy, huh?
I just like, I'm sorry. Sandoval is such a narcissist. He's so self-obsessed. Like he cannot for one moment position himself anywhere other than firmly as the victim in every scenario. Like, I'm so done with this guy. Like
It's pretty insane.
It's pretty insane. And it's like yeah, I
think like Brock makes a pretty good point on that front where it's just like, yo, it's hard for everyone to get over Scandival when all you do is defend your actions all the time. We're not your enemy. We're just your very hurt friends. Like, just listen to everyone. Listen to Schwartz. Listen to Lisa.
Yeah, he is the most, Tom Sandoval is the most like will never learn, cannot learn, like absolutely pointless trying to.
Hey, we're only 5 episodes in. I'm calling it around episode 8. Sandoval will finally get it. Yeah.
It's not that complicated. Like, it's not like the things that he has to do to become redeemed. Like here's like a 3-step plan for Tom Sandoval to become redeemed in every way that a person can become redeemed. Speak to Ariana, whether through Anne or if she'll talk to you directly, talk to her. Say, what would you like me to do in order to, make things right between us? Maybe she says, leave the show. Maybe she says, sell the house. Whatever she says, you just do it. All right? Step 2, you go to everybody involved. You say, I am so sorry that I gave you a hard time about your podcasts and anything else that is related to this show. Everybody's got to make a living. I really hope that we can move forward. If you want to be my friend, that's great. If you don't even worry about it. Like, I understand we do this show together, but when the cameras are off, you don't have to talk to me, whatever you're comfortable with. I apologize without qualification, without reference to anything that's happened in the past. Step 3, enjoy yourself. At that point, you're done. Am I wrong? Like, is there anything else you would have to do?
In my mind, it's a little different. It's a 3-step plan for Sandoval to redeem himself. Okay. Step number 1. Leave Vanderpump Rules during the off season and go on a different reality show, which is kind of hard, and then don't win. Step number 2, take a cold. Wait,
you mean plunge. Like a reality? You mean like a reality show, like a competition show, and don't win?
Yeah, kind of like a competition show. Maybe they do like some kind of army boot training or some really hard stuff for a bunch of celebrities. Maybe
it's called Special Forces. He's on that show.
He's done one of the things. Okay. Number 2. Go in a cold plunge that is about a 9 in a pain threshold. Really, really cold. A 9 according to Tom Sandoval. And number 3, just apologize to everyone with no but. Just be like, hey, I'm really sorry.
Well, so he's done 2 of those, but he's got to do the 3rd.
The problem is step 3 is never going to happen because this man's a crazy person.
So then the gang arrives at Lake Tahoe. I gotta give it up. Okay, here's the thing. Do we think Schwartz really booked this house, or do we think like a PA on Vanderpump Rules booked this house? Who's paying for this house? Is production paying for this house?
I thought like Lisa Vanderpump paid for it, but did Schwartz find the Airbnb?
I also thought that. I was like, oh, this is a property that Lisa Vanderpump owns or rents or whatever. It said they had like a little graphic Schwartz's at the bottom of the screen.
Property.
Schwartz's, yeah.
I don't. It seems very out of character for Schwartz to, book a thing, do a thing. But if he did, I think that's great. It's just kind of. I feel like Schwartz has the wrong energy with this entire thing. Where
go on,
Schwartz is coming in with this energy of this is going to be the thing I do that gets everyone back together and we're all going to be cool again. It's like, I don't know if that's it yet. I think this is a first step towards that, but Schwartz is just like, hey, I did the thing. We're all good now. Everything's going to be okay.
Also, why are we getting this group back together? Is it just for the TV show? Like, were these... I understand, like, James has said, like, oh, Tom Sandoval was my number one person. I don't believe him. Like, I don't... Do you think off camera, Tom Sandoval was the closest person in James's life?
I do, actually. I think that might be true. I mean, Sandoval, like, fronted the bill for that whole, like, Rachel engagement thing.
Yeah, but just so he could get closer to Rachel, apparently.
I don't know if that was happening at that point yet. That was a season 8 arc.
I promise you, if somebody fronted the bill for a party in which I proposed to Gabrielle, and then I found out that person later was sleeping with Gabrielle, I would not talk to that person again. You know, like, I just wouldn't do it. Is that great?
Am I not understand? People were really mean to James, and Tom Sandoval was there to lend him a friendly ear and a friendly face to bounce his ideas off. They worked together. Sandoval played that great trumpet part on that classic James Kennedy hit. And they did that other thing.
I will say, like, I guess our analysis of human behavior, you know, I'm sure being on a reality show together, you bond in ways that we would not understand. So maybe there is something to these people wanting to spend time together that's genuine because they have this connection, you know?
It looks if you read James's body language in this entire episode, I do think you can like see him dripping with like actual like betrayal and hurt of a friend. Like he's so uncharacteristically timid and uncomfortable. Like there's that moment where Brock and Sandoval are like by the fridge with the grapes, and like James walks in and Sandoval's like, "Hey man, thanks for being so nice to me." And James is just like, "I have to go do something over there now." And backs out of the room. I think there's genuine hurt there.
That's fair. This is like along the lines of thinking about how reality people act off camera, you know, is yesterday. One of my part-time jobs is I deliver bread, and I was at this place, Jones on 3rd in Studio City, and I walk in and I see, sitting with two young women who I assumed were like producers of the show, I see Erica Jane, who is she's a member of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, the show that Lisa Vanderpump was on. This show is a Real Housewives of Beverly Hills spinoff, Vanderpump Rules. And I saw Erica Jane, who's iconic. She's great. I'll send you some clips later. And
I'm Googling Erica Jane. Oh, it's Erica with a K.
Yes. Jayne. And I walked past and I was like, I'm pretty sure that's her. I go to the bathroom, right? I come out of the bathroom and I look probably for too long at her table to be like, is that Erica Jane? And she looked at me and it was like this look. It was just like, it was like the do not date. I was like, I'm so sorry. I just like put my head down, walked out. But it was like the most intense, like, I don't know. It was like a very formative, striking moment for me where I was like, yo, it's weird. It's a weird thing. These people being captured on camera, you're getting their real life, and then you might see them out in the world. It felt different than somebody who's like an actor in something where, you know, if you see them, I feel like they have to kind of be nice. And not that she wouldn't have been nice. Maybe if I walked up and said hi to her, she would have been super friendly. But the vibe was very much like, I'm Erica Jane, and you know I'm Erica. I was like, oh my God. I like ran out.
For those of you not watching the video feed, the Erica Jane face that Ryan made was kind of a, say, unapproachable eyes towards the
big eyes, big lifted
do not
eyebrows.
Fuck
with me energy. Yeah.
Pair of glasses, I'm assuming she had.
No, that's just because
Oh no,
I
you wear
have a
glasses.
glasses. Yeah.
I see.
Did you?
It's good.
I did. For people listening, I did put on a different pair of glasses, but that was just I'm just wearing the wrong glasses. That was not an Erica Jane related thing.
Speaking of glasses, is it time for another episode of Brock and Ox Brockcast?
Yeah, let's see if they're available.
All right, hold on. Yeah. Hey.
Oi! Welcome to Brock and Ox Broadcast.
I'll tell you what, this Ryan and Brian fellas, they don't got it. Brock, we got it. I'm Orc.
And I'm Brock, and you better download my new workout app, or I'll bend you in half and make you look like my pink underwear.
Hey, Brock, I got a question.
Yeah.
What was wrong with that woman at the clothing store? She should have stood up for you when Sheena was giving you a hard time. She just stood there folding clothes. How about standing up for what's right?
Yeah, me.
All right. Well, that's
Oh, they
that's
ran
episode
out. They
2
ran out of
of the Brock and Ock broadcast. Stay tuned. I'm sure there'll be more of those going forward. They get very confusing when Vanderpump Guys is on like episode 11 and Brock and Ock are episode 7, and
Yeah.
we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So
next
yeah,
scene-
where were we?
Ariana FaceTimes with her designer about furniture prices. I gotta be honest. I've been through breakups. I've lived with people. I mean, I guess I've never had furniture this expensive, but it's just like, man, it seems stressful. This is a real peek behind the curtain of, what a big high profile breakup can be like. I mean, there's a lot of furniture that's expensive and she's got to get it out of there or get him to pay for it or something, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you're at the level of fame where you're commissioning a Lego sculpture of yourself and your partner, that was funny too.
I did not realize those were Legos.
Neither
Did you
did
know
I.
those were like?
No, I thought it was like a weird collage of seeing 5 episodes in a row, and then finally the reveal. They do like an extreme close up, and you can see the little Lego nub. But they propose rebuilding it. Just Ariana.
The Ariana, like, she's leaning against Sandoval in the painting, so I'm just like wondering if the rebuild is just like she's leaning against like her dog or something. I don't know.
Yeah, put Maya in there. Put Dan in there.
Yeah. Ooh, I don't know. About
We
that.
haven't seen Dan yet, huh?
No, it's been a minute. Just in that first episode, right?
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that later. But you had an interaction with Ariana, but we'll tease that.
I did. I said. I mean, there's not much of a big reveal there, but
no, they'll like it. They'll like it when.
All right. Next week, stay tuned. So Sandoval and the gang go to like the body structure of Wolf, or what will be Wolf, and they start breaking a wall with a hammer.
I'm sorry, just like the guy off camera who just built that wall. It's just like,
what are you doing? My wall.
He's just like on the phone. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna have to work late. Sorry.
Sorry, honey. Tuck the kids in tonight. Daddy's gonna have a late night. Yeah, fucking. This was a weird scene. You got like everyone screaming their darkest anxieties they got to get out. James is breaking the wall. You should have looked after Graham better. Schwartz is like, I don't want to be 40 and single. And Sandoval hits the wall and metaphorically demolishes every single person on the show but himself. It's like
that was such a great peek behind the curtain of how Sandoval's mind works that I was like, I never want to see that again.
Like, he should have just been like, I'm mad at Lala. I'm mad about Worm with the mustache. I'm mad at Sheena's podcast. But most of all, I'm mad at myself. What have I
for
done?
real.
But instead,
Yeah.
he's like, fucking Lala, fucking shenanigans, fucking Tom Scandival. This guy.
That was a nightmare.
You see it in everyone's face. All those shots of Lala and Shayna just like shaking their head at this man. It's like, dude, accountability. Get some.
And then there was an awkward cast dinner with Lisa. I'm sorry. There's nothing less convincing to me than Lisa Vanderpump sitting down with the Vanderpump Rules kids for dinner. I don't buy it for a moment. I did not buy any of that.
Also, Ken sat at that table too.
I'm sorry. I don't know what their CGI budget is, but I'm convinced that Lisa and Ken were not actually at that table. Those were insert shots.
Might be right. Like she's always FaceTiming into things. Like she's always like, even when she's supposed to be in Lake Tahoe, she's FaceTiming in. There, you know the scene where she arrives at the lake house with Graham. If you watch the way that scene is constructed, you see the whole gang in one shot. Then there's a hard cut, if you pay close attention, to Lisa in an isolated frame walking down a staircase. CGI much?
I will say also, I recently, last week, we'll have to text and watch this at some point, but I tried to watch the first episode of Vanderpump Rules, and it's just very strange.
It's a different show back then.
it's like Kristen just being like there are people in Hollywood who work at there's people who want, like, everybody at Sir wants to be a model or actress, and everybody who's a server at another bar wants to be a server at Sir. I'm just like, all right, sure.
Stassi's just coming in real hot.
Stassi real hot. Real hot.
I am the devil incarnate, and I will slit the throats of my boyfriends.
Like, what?
That's true. Right. Jax looking real young, super young Jax.
Yeah, that's our Jax. I think he has a line in that first episode. He's like, "There's one thing I'll never do. It's get married."
And then the last scene in this episode is Tom and James hash out their differences, which is like, I don't even know how to describe this conversation.
Hard to watch.
Astonishingly hard. Like, it's funny how last season was arguably the greatest television of all time, and now they are serving up some of the worst scenes I've ever seen in my life.
It's just like Sandoval won't stop saying like crazy things. Like, I just need to accept what I've done, and I've reached a point now where I do accept it, and now I need to embrace it. Like, what, dude? No, that's not the takeaway. Don't embrace your actions. What are you talking about?
If the last season of Vanderpump Rules was like a classic action movie like Speed, then this season of Vanderpump Rules is like if they were like the sequel, they were like, hey, let's follow around the Dennis Hopper character. It's like the whim of a madman. It's like making Tom Sandoval kind of like the main character this season, because Ariana's kind of like, I would like to be removed from this narrative. Is just like, it's a choice. It's
definitely a big swing.
Tom is very willing to be on camera and say the most wild shit you've ever heard in your fucking life. Like,
don't worry, James. We'll work through this together at your speed. James is just, I'm just trying to get through the night, man.
And Brian, we got to tell viewers. So you went to see Ariana on Broadway in Chicago. What was the experience like?
Oh, the experience was great. You could really tell the vibe was people were there to see Ariana. Like, as soon as she took the stage for her first number, people lost their minds. Then afterwards,
good singing.
Impeccable. She
really
is very talented. Better than
Wow,
Sandoval, and he's in a band.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, allegedly. No.
So the show ends, and
Oh wait,
I'm
I
like,
got another question about
Oh, sure.
the actual show. So I feel like there is in the Real Housewives universe there is a kind of a tradition of actresses being in Chicago. Like Lisa Rinna was in Chicago, and I've seen clips from that, and it was just like she did not belong in a Broadway show. But you're saying Ariana like did not stand out in a bad way, like was an equal of everybody else in the show. That's what you're saying?
Oh, I'm not saying equal. I'm saying Ariana stood out from her stellar performance. I'm saying, Mr. Cellophane comes out and does his little "I'm Mr. Cellophane." And it's like, all right, dude, get out of here. But then Ariana comes out and she does her Roxy number, and you're like, all right, Roxy, this is some Broadway entertainment here.
That's great to hear. And sorry, okay, so go on to your backstage story.
Yeah, no, not backstage, just to leave the
backstage
show.
Friend.
You're on like 42nd Street, whatever it is, standing on the road. I'm like, man, we gotta wait around, see if Ariana comes. And there's hundreds of people there, all waiting for Ariana. Everyone's got like their little playbill they want her to sign. And then the door opens, and it's the Mr. Cellophane guy. And like everyone like starts applauding, sees it's him, and just like he walks through the crowd. I think he signs like one autograph. Poor guy. No one could care less.
He's literally Mr. Cellophane.
He's literally invisible. But then the security guard comes out, and he's like, guys, I have some bad news. Ariana has some friends visiting from LA. She's going to be a little late tonight. I don't know how long this is going to be. And everyone's like, oh! But we're still holding strong. I don't know, 30 minutes pass, the door opens, and out walks Dan. It's Dan.
Was that the friend
Dan.
from LA?
That's her new boyfriend, yeah.
But I thought he was in New York.
I don't think Dan was the LA friend. He was the New York friend there. But then there was Dan walks out. These like two other girls walk out. Those are probably the LA friends. Then Ariana walks out. Commotion, pushing. Everyone's trying to get her. Ariana stops, signs like every playbill. She talks to every person. She's making eye contact. She's just everything you would want and more. You love to see it. And I bet she's doing that every night.
And you got a great photo with her. What was is this like you? I want the minute by second. So you go, hey, Ariana, can I get a photo? Is this the?
Well, how it actually happened is I was lined up directly in front of the door. Sam standing with me. Ariana walks out and just immediately walks past me. And Sam's like, you need to be more aggressive. And I'm like, oh, shit. So then I like run up a little ahead of her and I miss her again. And then it's a big crowd, and
yeah,
I'm like trying to be polite. I don't want to push people, and I keep like kind of missing her. But then I run to the end. Basically, I see where her car is, and I see where she's walking, and I just kind of held out. And then as she's walking, I was like, Ariana, and she was like, hey, and I was like, hey, what's going on? She's like, yeah, nothing, just you in Chicago. I'm like, that's what's up.
You didn't say that, did you say that?
I mean, it's been 2 weeks now, but I mean, it wasn't aggressively dissimilar to what I'm describing.
Okay. I'm excited for this podcast. This podcast video to be played in a court deposition.
Ariana's gonna like release a public statement, like disputing my account of the events.
I walked past him once. I walked past him the second time. No.
Then Sandoval's gonna do like a confessional. Actually, Brian was completely accurate in his retelling, and Ariana's just on her high horse. I don't know what's going on.
No, she sounds like a lovely person. I'm so glad that you had that interaction.
Thanks a lot, Ariana. Please come on the show.
I famously do not eat bread anymore, but I will I will buy a sandwich from their sandwich shop and eat the meat inside of it. And
Wait, you deliver
report.
bread and don't eat bread?
It's one of life's great paradoxes. Yeah.
Damn, dude. That's like being on Vanderpump Rules and being sober.
It's like being on Vanderpump Rules and being Tom Sandoval.
I couldn't imagine such a thing. Well, on that note.
Yeah, I guess we'll see y'all next week.
End scene.